In this video, we're going to see how we can do operation between rows and how we can define rows from segmentations. So let's say that you want to measure the intensity that is inside the cell and also measure the intensity that is in the background outside the cell as a negative control. So if you want to do it manually, you can just use the polygon region of interest, and then you define points that are on the border of your shape. Okay, so just going maybe not extremely precise to go a bit fast, but get the idea. So when you click on the first point, then here your shape, your region of interest is defined, and if I open the row manager, so Tools, Row Manager, now I can add this row. Alright. If I want to define the background, it's a bit trickier because I cannot use this regions of interest as it's actually a region with a hole in it. However, you can do operation between rows, and if I go here in the Row Manager in More, see you can do AND or an XOR. These are logical operators. If you do an AND, it's going to be what is common between two rows. If you do an OR, it's what is in one or the other. So it combines the row. And the XOR is what is unique to one row or unique to the other row. So let's define a new row that spans the entire image. So if I use the rectangular row and I define it over the entire image, I add it. Now if I do an XOR between those two, I'm going to get what is unique. And so everything that is common to both is going to be out of a row. So here what is common is the cell. So I'm going to remove this and just get what is unique to the entire image, and that's going to actually correspond to my background. So if I select both rows and go to More and XOR, now I get the background and I can add it. If I want to verify if it worked, I can do some measurements. So I'm going to first specify which measurements I want. And I actually want to compare the intensity and the areas, which are already checked. And stack position is checked, which is going to be useful when we do it for each time step. So let's do it that way. Let's select all rows and do measure. And as you can see, so the first row corresponding to the cell has a high intensity. The second row, the entire image has a lower intensity, and the third one, which is the background, has even a lower intensity, which makes sense because in the entire image is both cell and background, so it's going to be in between. And if you look at the area, if you add the area in the cell with the area outside the cell, you actually get the area of the entire image. So that makes sense. Now we could do it at each time step, but as you can see, it's going to take some time. And it's going to be much faster to actually use a segmentation to define rows from the segmentation. So let's see how to do that. I'm going to close everything. Here I'm going to delete the rows. And now let's just do a thresholding. It should be enough. So if I go to first process filter median, I want to filter my image to get rid of noise, and then I'm going to apply thresholding, adjust threshold. Wrong seems to be good. I'm going to apply it. So of course, if I go when the photo bleaching was applied, I have some holes, but I can just do a process binary fill holes. And now I have something that looks good. So when you do this, when you have objects that have convex shapes, it's very easy to convert them to rows. You just go to Analyze Particles, make sure Add to Manager is checked, and then you process all images, and now you get a row for each time step. Okay, time 1, time 2. So if you go to properties of a row, you see that they're associated to a position, which in this case is time. So 1, you can change the name, you can change the color, of course. If I go to time 5 and properties, now I can see that that's position 5. So if I want to do measurement on my image, I'm going to open the original image, and I'm going to add the ROI on top of it, and then I can select them all and do some measurements. And now you see, so the area is changing a little bit, but it's very stable. The average intensity is decreasing with time because of bleaching. That seems to make sense. Now let's do it for the background. So I'm going to delete all the ROIs I have here. I'm going to delete this image. So if I want to do the background, I can again segment my image. So let's process, filter, median filter. Yes, and then image adjust threshold. So one way is to do that and then invert, or I can just, instead of selecting the object, I can select the background and I apply it. All right, and I actually have my background. Nope. No. Yes, problem is that I also have part of the object because of the bleaching, and here if I fill holes it's not going to work. So I'm going to redo it, open the image again, process, filters, median, yes, and I'm going to apply Huang but with a dark background. I'm going to apply it, and then now I'm going to fill holes. Okay, so it's correct mask, and now I can invert it to, instead of having the cell, having the background. So if I go to edit, invert, now I have what I want. So there's a nice feature if you have a mask and you want to get it as a ROI, but you have a hole in it like in here. If I again do analyze particles, I'm going to get the entire image, because when you do that, you try to find an object with a convex shape, and that's not going to work. But what you can do is to go to Edit, Selection, and you create selection. So it's going to create a ROI from your mask. So I'm going to add it. So I have this ROI now. And I'm going to show you another nice feature. I'm going to do it for the last time step. Okay, so again, same thing, edit, selection, create selection, add it, and now I have a ROI for the first and the last step. If I go to more, I can interpolate ROIs, and now I have ROIs. If I show them all, you're going to see that you have a ROI that is moving, and it corresponds to the backgrounds. If I open again my image sequence and I show them all, now if I select them all and I measure, now as you can see, you have measurement again from time step 1 to 51, but now you see the intensity is really low because you are actually measuring the intensity in the background.